day in the desert, and the ancient animals of this arid land are ready for a race. The sport of camel racing has been around for as long as wealthy sheikhs have been competing for power and prestige. There is one rule to winning: the smaller the jockey, the faster the camel. And so kids are the jockeys of choice. They're not locals, but foreign children, too young to know much at all, except that they are a world away from home.
These camel jockeys are the most unfortunate children in this world. They are stories to you, to people like you. They are simply stories. And they are commodities for these Arab sheikhs.
Can I ask you why you're taking the boys away?
Cancel.
No, we're allowed.
No.
We have permission.
No,
we
cancel.
Have permission.
No, cancel.
Why are you doing it?
Can you take your hand off my camera?
No,
Thanks.
cancel.
This is a story the rich sheikhs from this land don't want the world to see. Dubai is the glitz capital of the Persian Gulf. Its wealth is built on a brew of oil and anything-goes capitalism. Here, power is measured not just by wealth, but prestige, proven at the camel races. This sport is a multi-billion-dollar industry, but it's built on the backs of the world's poorest children, trafficked from countries such as Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sudan and India. If this young boy looks like he's hanging on for dear life, that's because he is. Falls can mean serious injury, even death.
It is like the old Greek gladiators fights, when the lions are chasing the human beings and people are enjoying this thing. It is like that.
This man has inside knowledge of the child jockey racket. Working in the UAE for a foreign government, he agreed to speak on condition of anonymity.
These people are neither Muslims nor human. They are just some cruel creatures who have no hearts other than their own interests.
Those interests are showcased at the trophy room of the UAE's Camel Racing Federation. Here, the race-winning prowess of the UAE sheikhs is honoured in gold, but the camel jockeys don't get a mention. In 1993, the UAE banned the employment of jockeys below the age of 15, a ban that was reinforced last September with higher penalties. Now, if you believe the Federation's head, Colson Khamis, child camel jockeys don't even exist.
ولا يمكن أن يقل عمر الراكب أقل من 15 سنة ولن يكون. الأمور تسير بطريقة كما خطط لها وكما وضع لها النظام، وسترى بكرة أنت إن شاء الله بنفسك في ميدان السباق، ونقترح أنكم تشوفون على الطبيعة، وممكن أنكم تشوفون وتسألون كل من تريدون في هذا.
It was a challenge Colson Khamis might wish he hadn't made. The next morning, a UAE government minder took us to film a race. But through a bungled arrangement, we were taken to a race we were not meant to see.
Good morning.
There were young boys everywhere, some barely beyond toddler age. Seemingly surprised by our presence, the police suddenly began removing the younger kids from the crowd of jockeys as they edged towards the starting line. They demanded we hand over our pictures of the children.
I'm not being searched. I'm sorry. We're here as official guests, are we not?
Yeah, I know, but as I told you. لحظة واحدة الله يخليك. I told you earlier, try to avoid filming kids.
Well, you didn't tell us that, actually. We said we were going to come and film a race.
Okay, yeah, okay, but you are concentrating maybe on something like, which is UAE is trying to fight.
الناس جايين يتوظفون هناك يصورون هناك يصورون العالم هو بيجون يصورون الفروق داخل الباص.
لا ما يصورون فروق.
ايش حق يصورون شنو يصورون؟
لا
ما يصورون حتى ابو عمرك مكلمنا الشيخ وقال طال عمرك يصورون ما بيصورون لي حال ايش حق جايين يصورون؟
لا قلنا
ايش حق واقفين هناك يصورون الباص؟
لا don't go in the bus. That's all. Because these guys are younger than the age of what we said earlier, yesterday in our interview, and they are like under the age of 15. So they are not allowed to go in the race.
So why can't we film them?
Well, because, you know, they don't want you to film them, that's all.
While they were strict with us, there is scant evidence of official action against those forcing children to race camels. In this strange wonderland, it's the animals who are treated like spoiled kids. Worth up to $1 million on the market, prize camels are taken for daily dips in their own custom-built swimming pools. Every need is catered for, including the best medical care that money can buy. It's a standard of care that camel kids will never know.
Even if a camel jockey lost a match, he is punished.
How is he punished?
He is deprived of his salary, he is deprived of his food, he is whipped, he is also abused physically, mentally.
The camel kids live out here in the desert. Days and nights are spent not in the care of parents, but under the guard of strange men. With a hidden camera, we visited one of their ramshackle huts, where two Pakistani boys spent the few hours between races sleeping on the floor. These camel racing professionals are aged just 5 and 7.
If we can see. Okay. Just confirming, he's from Pakistan? Yeah. He's from Pakistan? Yeah. And you're from Pakistan also? Brothers. Yeah. And both are camel jockey?
Yeah.
And he is aged 5, and he's aged 7 years old. And they've been here for 2 years.
Yes.
And they race 4 times a week?
4 times a week.
For 400 dirhams for 1 month.
Yeah.
Can you show me how he rides?
Yeah.
That's about $200, a wage which goes to the adults who brought Sammy here. Sometimes they are parents, but often they are imposters, traffickers, profiting from this kindergarten-aged child's race-winning skills. It's from a world like this that young Jakir has come. He may be playing now, but until a few weeks ago, camel racing was the only childhood he had ever known. He thinks his age is 8, but he doesn't know for sure. He remembers only that he was stolen from Bangladesh and smuggled to the UAE at an age when he couldn't even dress himself. He was 2.
Jackie, do you ever get sad about your life? J A
Jockey's camel racing days are now over. He was taken into police custody when a man posing as his father was arrested with a fake passport. Now, after 6 years as a camel jockey, Jockey is going home.
What's that say? What's that say? Jockey.
Among the world's poorest nations, but Bangladesh is indisputably rich in one resource: human beings. But the most densely populated country on earth cannot provide anything like enough employment opportunities. So here it's not difficult to find parents willing to gamble their children on thin promises of overseas work. But some parents are never even given that choice. Their children are simply stolen from a country where it can be impossible to prove that they ever existed at all. We arrived in the Bangladesh capital Dhaka just days before Jockey was due to return, but plans to film his arrival were foiled by an anxious government. 30% of Bangladesh's wealth comes from the wages of its expatriate workers in countries like the UAE. Income it does not want to jeopardise by pushing too hard on the camel jockey issue. Eventually, Bangladesh's State Minister for Expatriates Welfare and Overseas Employment did arrange for us to meet with Jockey, as long as he could join the brief picture opportunity. While Jockey struggled to remember the city he left 6 years ago, the Minister struggled to defend the country which is one of the largest employers of Bangladeshi labour. We've been to the UAE and we've seen these boys working as camel jockeys, some younger than him. What do you say to that? They're still working as camel jockeys.
We have not seen, frankly speaking.
But we have seen it.
Anyway, if it is younger than that, the law is passed now. I believe that in future it will never happen. And I believe this will be implemented very strictly.
You have confidence in the government?
I have confidence in that. Because the law has been passed by them, by their own. So that's why they want to implement it, definitely.
Would it concern you if the law wasn't being enforced?
Definitely it will concern us, but I'm sure that it will be implemented properly.
Jockey, meanwhile, is bound for this shelter for trafficked boys. These boys are rehearsing a play depicting how they were lured into the camel jockey trade.
Hello, boss. দুইটা মুরগির বাচ্চা পাইছি এ বয়স কম জবপুর মাল শাবাশ শোন সব ব্যবস্থা করে আছে কালকে সন্ধ্যা পেলে নে ও উড়া দিবি বুঝছস দেখিস কোন ক্যাসাল জানি না হয় আমি তো আবার ক্যাসালের মধ্যে থাকতে পছন্দ করি না খালি 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 তাদরিল তাদরিল দিগা 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 খালি
Every former camel jockey here has some experience of injury or abuse. Mammon was 5 when he was trafficked to the UAE. It was an injury that ended his camel racing days.
আমি ওটার উপর বসছিলাম একটা ওট বহুত শতান ছিল ওই যে সময় ওট দৌড়ান দেয় ওই সময় ওটের সামনে রশি থাকে ওই ওটা আমি মারলে ওট পিছনে যায় এটার সাথে ঘষা খায়া রশির সাথে ঘষা খায়া এটা কাটতে গেছে
The true tragedy of the camel jockey racket is found in Bangladesh's vast and waterlogged countryside. Out here, poverty-stricken families are perfect prey for traffickers. Ali Islam has returned home to his parents after spending years in the UAE riding camels. A bite from one of them permanently disfigured him. His other scars aren't so visible.
দোকান আগের থেকে তো ভালো হয়েছে ক্যামেরা এখন তো পাইছি পাওয়ার পরে যে কইতাম যে স্কুলে ভর্তি করে স্কুল দেবো না মাদ্রাসা পড়তে দেবো না ওই খালি বন্ধু বান্ধবের খালি সাথে খেলবো বাড়িতেও ঠিক মতো ভাত খাবে না এই খেলাধুলে বেশি
At Rajashahi on Bangladesh's border with India, UNICEF and local government agencies are registering births. It's part of a national plan of action which is perhaps Bangladesh's best hope of guarding against the camel jockey trade. 5 years ago, almost no births in Bangladesh were registered, allowing children to disappear without any official trace. Now, in some parts of Bangladesh, up to 70% of new births are recorded. It's a beginning, but a long way from a solution. Tens of millions of Bangladeshi children remain vulnerable to what is effectively a slave trade.
If there is no demand, then there will be no supply. Simple as that. So, pressure should be put on these Gulf governments not to use children as camel jockeys, and not only on paper or as promises. They should work in close cooperation with international organizations.
But the racing continues, and as long as self-interest is driving this game, a different future for these children is not worth betting on.